Hello everyone. Well, today I'm going to fulfill a request video that I had, and that was to demonstrate a card game. So I found these cards of this game that I used to play a lot, and I really loved it, and so I thought I'd teach you guys how to play it. And it's a game called Dutch Blitz. And this is a very fast-paced game for 4 people, as you can see. Everyone will get their own deck of cards, and they're each labeled with a different picture so that when each hand is done, you can determine which cards are yours, and your score is based on how many cards you play. So that's what these 4 different pictures are for. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to play using this deck of cards. So I'm going to move these out of the way, and I'll be using some of them to simulate the other player because it's impossible to play with just one person, as you'll see. So the name of the game is called Dutch Blitz. Blitz meaning lightning, and that is because it is a very fast-paced game, as you'll see. But I'm going to play this hand very slowly to kind of get the mechanics of it down and show you. And the speed doesn't really pick up until you actually have other people playing with you. So each person gets 1 deck of cards. So let me shuffle them for you. So shuffle them a few times. And basically this game consists of 3 different piles of cards. And each of them has a specific name, but I don't remember what it is now. But the first pile is a pile of 3 cards, face up, like that. And sometimes I think there may be a 4th card. I'm remembering. Let's put 4 down. I think it may be 4. The next pile is a pile of 10 cards that are face down. Okay. 10 cards. And as you can tell, this deck of cards is very well worn. I've played with them a lot. This is a favorite game of mine in college, and my friends would play it at parties and stuff. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so these are the piles that you have in front of you. I'll move these down here some. These are your cards that you play with. The other piles are all piles that are in the middle, and they are piles that everyone can play on. The goal of the game is 2 things. 1, to play as many cards in the middle as you can, because that's what your score is based on. And the second goal is to get rid of these 10 cards. The first person to get rid of all 10 cards yells Blitz very loudly, if they can, and the play stops. So that is how the game is generally played, start and stop. Now, during play, what you do is you take the cards that are in your hand and you count 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. And you play this top card if you can. If you can't, you count 3 more. 1, 2, 3. And see if you can play that card. If you can play this card, then you can play the card underneath it. But if you cannot play this card, you have to count 3 more. And keep going through your deck of cards until you reach the end. If you still can't play, you pick them up, you don't reshuffle them, and you start over. So while you're playing, everyone is furiously flipping over cards and trying to remember what cards are being covered up, because you may come around again to them and be able to play them. So how do you get rid of cards? There are 2 main ways that you get rid of cards. One is by playing them in the middle, and 2 is by playing them here on these cards as well. And this part is a little bit like solitaire, with a few changes. You can build down in numerals. So basically, this is a 7 card. You could play a 6 on it, and then a 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The main restriction is that you can see in the corner of each card, some of them have girls, and some of them have boys. You can only build an alternate sex as you go down. So I could not play a 6 girl on this card. I would have to play a 6 boy on this card in order to make it work. So if we are going through our cards and see if we can find, by some stroke of luck, a 6 boy, which we can't. Okay. So that's how that would work, and when we get to playing, I'll show you that. But once you've built on it, you cannot pull a card out from the middle and play it. You've basically locked these cards in until you can uncover them again. So while it is a nice way to get yourself out of a tight spot, it is not something that you want to build massive amounts of cards on, because you can lock some of your valuable cards away. Now, when play starts, the first thing you do is flip over this top card. And this is the first card that you have to get rid of before you can play the next one. Now this is a number 10, which is very difficult to get rid of at the top of a deck. You're usually going to want a 1 or a 2, because the piles that you start here start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 10 of the same color. These, because they alternate boy and girl, will be of different colors. The piles in the middle have to all be of the same color. So let's say we're starting the game. We have our piles here, and we're ready to go. Now I'm going to pretend like this other player, one of their top cards was a number 1 of yellow. So as soon as play starts, they're going to put that card out in the middle. This card is now ready for anyone to put a yellow 2 on. So I would start by counting my cards off. Okay. So far, I can't play anything. So I keep playing down. Here's a number 2 of red. So I look out and see if anyone has a number 1 of red, but no one has that out yet, so I can't play that. Here's a 3 of blue. Here's an 8 of green. And here I have a 1 of yellow. I can play this card and start a new pile. And this uncovers a new card, which it doesn't look like I can play here in the middle, but I can play here, because this is a 6 counting down, and it is a boy alternating from the girl. So we will continue to play here. It's a 10 yellow. And here's a number 1 of green. So let's start a new pile with that one. Now, I also have a number 2 of green, which I can play here and then move from this pile into this empty spot and turn over, and I've played 1 card off of this pile. So now we look out, and let's say in the midst of play someone has laid a 2 and a 3 down. Now I have a 4 yellow. I can play this, but I can only play it if I'm the first one. Someone may spot it at the same time, and we are all going to be fighting for this position, especially if this 3 card has been out for a while and everyone or several people have a 4 yellow waiting for someone to have a 3 yellow. As soon as they put that down, it is a mad dash to get your card to be the first on the pile. And that's where a lot of scratching and pushing and screaming and sometimes blood, especially if you're playing with girls who have long fingernails, happens. So we've emptied this blank, and so now we can turn over the next card, which is a 5 yellow, which goes here, which means we can turn another one over. So you can see that you can build on these piles, and it's great for reducing and getting to blitz, but these cards do not count towards your score. Only the cards that you play in the middle count for your score. So here we have a blue 8, and we have a yellow 7, which is a girl. I can move these over and open up another spot and flip this over. Now we have a 5 red. Now all of that was done, and I only really went through this 1 time, or maybe 2. So now let's see if things have changed as I go through. A 5 green, a 9 yellow, a 7 red, a 2 red, a 3 blue, an 8 green, a 4 green, and a 7 green. So we weren't able to play anything that time through. But usually this game is going so quickly that something will pop up. Usually there's pretty steady play. Sometimes everyone will be waiting for 1 or 2 cards, and it'll take forever for that to come, and a lot of tension will build up waiting for 1 or 2 cards to release and be played, and then people will start in a mad scramble to place their cards in the middle. So let's say I'm going to play as if someone here had put down a blue 1, a blue 2, and a blue 3. And I'm also going to play as if someone had put down a red 1 in the course of the gameplay. So now when we go through, we have a red 2 we can play. We have a blue 5 but we're waiting for someone to play a blue 4. We have a blue 3, but we missed our opportunity because someone has already played that. Okay. So as you can see, it's a lot to keep in your brain at one time, but it is also a lot of fun. So let's see what else we got here. If we do a red 3, and I'm going through this other pile here, so I can find another card to play for you guys. Of course, it's probably on the bottom of what I want. Okay. I'm looking for a red 4, and of course, I can't find it. Okay. Let's look through here, even though this isn't part of the game. A red 4. Okay. Let's just say someone had played that red 4. Now I can play this red 5 and flip this next one over, which is a blue 4, which I can play here. And now we have a yellow 2, which I can play here. So you can see that your blitz pile, which is what this is called, can shrink rather rapidly. And here's another number 1, which we can play here. Flipping this over, we have a green 3, and we have our last card, which is an 8. So we can sit on that and wait, because we can't play it here because this is a boy and this is a boy. We have all boys across here, so this is kind of waiting for any other colors that are girls. So let's go through this one more time and see what we have. Here's a 6 that we can play there. Here's a 3 that we can play here. Here's a 2 that we can play here. Okay, here's a 6 that we can play there. Now, let's go through again and see what we have. It's a 5, a 6, a 5 we can play there, which means we have a 7 we can play here, which means we can finally play this 8 here, and we would yell at the top of our lungs, Blitz. As soon as someone yells Blitz, everyone stops playing. Even if your hand is in midair, you stop and bring back the card. So now, everyone collects the cards that were in their hand and these cards that were in front of them, but they save their Blitz pile. Then all of the cards are gathered up. And looking at the back, they are distributed according to who played what. Now, of course, we just had 2 players in this, so not a whole lot. But you'd normally have all 4 of the, or 3, or how many ever players there were. Now, because I went out and I played all of my Blitz pile, I get to count all of my cards. But let's say this player still had 3 cards left on his Blitz pile. You have to subtract 3 cards and count the rest towards your score. So it's an advantage to get rid of your Blitz pile. 1, because it is the end of the play. And 2, it means you get to count all of the cards that you played in the middle. So that is the basics of how you play Blitz. It is a tremendous amount of fun. It moves very quickly, especially with 4 players. Playing it with 2 players, sometimes there's a card that won't come up, and then if you're playing with your pile that you're turning 3 over, sometimes we have to reshuffle this a little bit to get the game moving if there's only 2 players. But with 4 players, it moves very quickly. And you can play as many hands as you want, and then you add up your score when you're done to determine an overall winner. So I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration. I really enjoy this game. I hope there were some good card sounds with the shuffling and the moving them around. Please subscribe to my channel. Look on my channel for the video in which I describe the contest that's ongoing for my 2,000 subscribers. And watch that video and enter into the contest if you'd like to. Okay? Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for all the ideas that you give me and suggestions that you send in. Thanks. Bye.